Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We are here in the Digital Weather Center, and this is News 6 meteorologist David Nazario with your Friday Eve weather update. Not Friday yet, although I'll admit it feels like it should have been Friday 3 or 4 days ago. It should have been Friday on Monday. Not too sure why it feels that way. I'm not too sure if it feels the same for you all tuning in today, but regardless, we have a great show ahead of you for today. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your Thursday morning to join us over on the News 6 Plus app and the News 6 YouTube channel. We're going to get right into it because, again, there's a lot that we need to talk about, and we'll go right on over to the next big thing. Still, nothing particular that we're honing in on. We're watching a number of different moving pieces that we're going to have to monitor as we go over the next 36 to 48 hours, especially if you have Valentine's Day plans that will extend into the weekend, or if you're a NASCAR fan like myself and you'll be out there at the Daytona International Speedway, whether it be Saturday or Sunday or both. Because I know some of you out there will definitely do the whole camping experience. One day I aspire to do that. So I hope you're off to a great start today. Let's rock right into this. Here are your current headlines. For today, we have the hottest weather in place with actually, believe it or not, some sea breeze action that could possibly flare up for parts of southernmost Volusia, Brevard, trying to creep their way into south and eastern Osceola County. You'll be watching that closely. I don't think we're going to have any severe or very strong thunderstorms, but I have noticed here and there, whenever I've taken a peek outside, the sun is starting to shine, which means we will start to see those daytime temperatures continue to increase. We're going to be holding on to our butts throughout the afternoon to see if we break a record, if we do hit 90 degrees anywhere out there in Central Florida, because if we do, it will, for the very first time in history, be the first day that we've hit it this early into a year. Into a year, I should say. The earliest ever on recorded history, let's put it that way. And then for tomorrow, we have a slight cool down with a stray shower or storm possible because we are going to quickly transition back to an easterly wind component, pushing more warmth and more moisture in through our friends in Flagler, Volusia, and Brevard across the Central Florida area, which is why it will stay muggy. I know we're talking cold front. I'd more so call it a weak cool boundary that's slowly sinking its way through our viewing area. It's not really going to do too much besides increase our rain chances for today and maybe dry us out overnight before those winds can kick in out of the east and then start to prime us for what's coming through Saturday and especially for us here on Sunday. Which leads me right into that next one there. This weekend, the winter storm gets going. We're going to be watching the progression of that cold front very closely to see exactly how it's going to influence our weather here in Central Florida, and especially our neighbors up there who will be going out to, or anyone across the country, I should say, who's going to be headed out to the big race on Saturday. So now, let's switch over to our water vapor, and immediately I'm going to zoom this out and pan the camera just a little bit because I want you to look at the West Coast. Look closely at that West Coast because, good Lord, that is wild, to tell you the truth. That's not what I want. Let's go ahead and open this up. I'm going to change the perspective here and freeze it so we can do some drawing. Look at this big old thing right here. It looks like the giant pinwheel from back if you ever watched Teletubbies way back in the day. The giant pinwheel that spins. That is the next winter storm that's inundating our West Coast folks in California, the Pacific Northwest, the Sierra Nevadas, further into the state of Nevada, all together with hellacious impacts. Heavy snow over the mountainous terrain, flash flood conditions in the lower lying valley areas, with some severe weather and thunderstorms peppered in there as well. This is a bona fide atmospheric river event, and I feel like California can't catch a break. Last month, we were talking Santa Ana winds, the downsloping there in Southern California, fueling their wildfire outbreak, I'll call it. Now we've completely turned upside down like the Poseidon Adventure, and we're talking an atmospheric river setup that could drive flooding and way too much rainfall all at once into that area and the rest of the West Coast for that matter. This is the same system that's going to be moving through the Four Corners states and emerge somewhere right in through here. And if you recall, moments ago, I had mentioned easterly winds moving across Central Florida. Well, what happens from there is they curve back towards the north. And if you're already putting the puzzle pieces or the context clues together, that's going to create a collision, a point of contention right through Dixie Alley, right through the southern plains, the deep south. And that's why we have a level 3 out of 5 risk for widespread scattered severe weather on Saturday. Predictability is still fairly low. That is where the models begin to separate. The Euro does believe this thing's going to have enough punch to bring thunderstorms through Florida and the rest of us in the Central Florida Peninsula. The GFS thinks it will bring some impacts to the Panhandle, the Big Bend, maybe up near Gainesville, Ocala before it dissolves as it makes its way through the heart of Central Florida, closer to the Orlando metro area. Still looking at a possible rain delay, but I'll talk you through what the models are trending towards. Perhaps a slower arrival of this frontal system, which could be good, could be bad. If it slows down and keeps the moisture and the rain with it, we could possibly see a delay, if not a complete postponement of the Daytona 500 if it comes through at the wrong time. The 06Z earlier iteration of the Euro has this coming through between 4 to 6 p.m., which would be towards the back end, especially since they block the race now. They have the different zones or the stages. That could possibly be an issue for the back end of the Daytona 500. So in my opinion, I'd rather this thing just come through. Let's get her through between 12 to 2 p.m., dry the track off, and then have a nighttime, almost Coke Zero 400S kind of race. We'll have to see exactly what that does. And once we get our higher res models in, we can definitely start to pinpoint that a little bit more. There's the front right there for today, though. And you can see further to the north for southern Georgia with that quasi-linear convective system. The quasi-linear QLSC, or QLCS, I should say, for our fancy jargon acronyms. Basically, the line of storms coming through. We have some special weather statements for Albany, headed towards Tallahassee as we speak, and it should continue further on into the Florida Peninsula. If you fast forward, you can see we are starting to feel those heavier rainfall, and it does look like it's picking up just a bit more oomph as it goes through Apalachicola and into the Big Bend area. It looks like that frontal swath is widening out a little bit as we get up to where we sit right now per the Barron radar. So now, just like we did yesterday, we're going to quickly transition right on over to our latest model data. And I like to pull this up because right about now, and that's why I scheduled this live stream for 11:30, because we have a large majority of our 12 Zulu models beginning to populate. For our link system, it won't come in for another couple of hours, and I'm not going to keep you all holding on until about 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon. Ain't nobody got time for that. And by then, we're already getting into the second half of our day. So let's talk most recent model data as it populates right now. And if you check this out, I went ahead and created a new panel so you don't have to look at my big old head. You can look focused and you can strictly see the model data in front of us. So this is the GFS coming in right now, and you can see it is verifying really well. I want to go ahead and address a comment in the chat here over on News 6 YouTube. We have George Miller asking if the Buffalo area is going to get hit with 2 bad storms this weekend. And he added, you guys are great. So I'll go ahead and pop myself back on the screen one more time just to say, George, if you're still in the chat, means a lot, my friend. Thank you so much for tuning in today and leaving the comment. As you can see, based on the satellite I pulled up earlier and what we have going through the models right now, yes, we have some pretty powerful winter storms working their way up through that general area of the Northeast in New York State. We have a lot of wraparound snowfall occurring right now, as a matter of fact, with a little bit of enhancement from our Great Lakes, too, because of the winds coming out of the northwest on the left side of where the low pressure is. And that's storm system number 2, believe it or not. We had one go through earlier this week. Whoops. We had one go through earlier this week. This is the second one. And then you look at that big old mess over the western Rockies, the Pac Northwest, the Snake River Valley, Utah, Nevada, and across California. That's the big one. That's the big tamale, as they say, in Independence Day. And if we track this through time, there she is. She emerges over the central and southern plains, and look across the south and east U.S., where we see the differences in the purples to the greens flaring up over Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the way down to the Gulf coastline. That is that easterly return flow that I had mentioned earlier that's going to be influencing our temperatures and our weather through Friday and Saturday. That is really going to prime the atmosphere for that severe weather event. And you can see the GFS has actually what's called uptrended on that signature for severe weather through Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then further into the Ohio-Mississippi valleys. If I go back to 0Z, you'll notice the model wasn't quite as hungry to build up that severe weather. It took it a little bit longer to do so, and then it dissipates as it moves off towards the east. Whereas with 12 Zulu, I'm noticing right there, you can see that severe weather signature, it doesn't look like much because we're looking at the entirety of the United States, but where the strongest storms are likely to be extends further down into the panhandle through Georgia as we go through early Sunday morning. Look at the timestamp at the top, valid 12Z Sunday, February 16th. This is what we're going to be watching very closely. And as you further go through time, there is 18 Zulu, so this is about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. This is what I had mentioned, or no, pardon me, this is 8 o'clock in the morning. This is 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So this is what I was talking about not only a little earlier, but as well as in the article over on clickorlando.com. And I'm so sorry. I'm still, for some reason, dorked up with my Zulu to local time conversion because I'm so used to Arizona still. That was the last time I really dabbled in Zulu rigorously. So I'm still trying to do that quick math equation. You subtract 4 hours from Zulu and you get your local time. That's the math behind it. So 18Z would correlate to 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And you can see that frontal line is pushing in towards St. Augustine, Flagler County, and Volusia County. And that's what I'm concerned about for our Daytona 500 race fans. And then the GFS continues that severe line out into the Atlantic, dissolving the rest of the front through Central Florida. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take myself full screen again because it is 11:40. We got to get our first break in. Nomadic e-biking adventures over on News 6, the YouTube channel. Do I need my jacket tomorrow in Palm Coast to go e-biking? Now, when you say e-biking, is that a term for a different style of biking? Because I read e-biking, I think electronic or digital biking. But in terms of tomorrow, no, you shouldn't need a jacket. No, tomorrow we're not going to be cold at all. We're just going to come down a little bit. In fact, I would say it'll probably be very comfortable to go biking out there. In comparison to when I stepped outside this morning, a little bit of a warm breeze in the environment, as well as already in the low 70s with that 100% humidity just sitting right on top of you. No, tomorrow will probably be a lot more comfortable to go biking. You'll probably still break a nice sweat, but it won't be anything as ridiculous as yesterday and especially this morning. So don't go anywhere, folks. We're going to continue to deep dive into the model data. I'll take you close on in to what Central Florida is looking at, and then we'll also talk about the weird weather, and I truly mean weird, that's going to be coming at us between Wednesday and Thursday of next week. There's something else that we're pinpointing, and it looks very reminiscent of what happened with us in January. Now, I want to say right now, there's no signature we're going to have any ice or snow in Florida, but it will be a low-latitude system. So grab some popcorn, grab your favorite snack, and maybe a refresher or a replenishment of your drink, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. 2 minutes are up. Let's go ahead and get a closer look, a bird's eye view of the entirety of the state of Florida as we track the next system through and what's coming on Sunday. So I'll go ahead and take you back full screen so we can get my face out of the big picture. And let's focus in on what we have in store for us on Florida. So now we've moved over to weatherbell.com, a little easier of an interface to manipulate on the fly for the sake of time here. And we also have our latest data in here as well. So as you can see for today, as we go through the afternoon, that front is going to come down, and we're expecting an increase in our overall shower coverage and some thunderstorms. You can see right through there, through Osceola, parts of Orange, and especially Volusia and Brevard County. That's that precursor sea breeze activation that we're thinking is going to happen. And then we'll fast forward. We immediately transition back to those easterly winds. You can see that continuous flux of moisture over the state. By Saturday morning, we have that system underway. You can see all the plumes of green building up over North Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and the further west you go. And then finally on Sunday, there it is. There's that front. This is 18Z, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then up to 4 o'clock is what the Euro is thinking is where it could possibly be positioned. Now, I'll bring myself back into the picture real quick as I crack my elbow obnoxiously on camera here. And I want you to watch what happens here. This is valid for right now, and I mean the model data is a most recent model run. If I rewind us to 24 hours prior, 3 runs ago, watch what happens to that front. Watch closely, okay? It's like magic. You see that? Go back to the latest run. See it? Pretty pronounced jump. And this is why this could possibly have implications on our Daytona 500. If that system slows down, we could possibly be looking at washout conditions for the 500, at least the second half of the race. Because you can see by 4 o'clock and then into 8 o'clock is when that front's going to be knocking on our doorstep. The model does try to slow it down enough to where we may be able to finish the entirety of the race before the rain really starts to fall. It's going to be a close call. It'll be a very close call. I'll take you on for a very close look of the GFS as well to show you that the GFS is now really in line with the European model. That's what they're both thinking, pretty much whereabouts the exact same time. So this is for the day today. Still showing that sea breeze ignition along for our eastern viewers. Before that front washes out, we rapidly transition to that easterly flow. You can even see the moisture going down, and then it stops, and it immediately starts to move back towards the west. And then here comes Saturday and Sunday. This is 2 p.m. There's 5 p.m., or I should say 4 p.m. right there. And then it comes through, and it's right on top of that area by 8 o'clock. So this is going to be a close call. I believe the race starts around 1:30, 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30 in the afternoon, give or take, sometime around then. So we're going to be splitting hairs in terms of the timing on this. Nomadic e-biking adventures. E-biking refers to riding an electric bicycle, which is a bicycle equipped with an electric motor that assists the rider. Oh, okay. E-biking, I got it. So it's like those ones that you see where the folks really aren't pedaling too much on the side of the road, at least sometimes. I know you can transition back and forth if you want. So this is what we're going to be tracking as we go over the next day or two. By tomorrow evening, and especially Saturday, we will have our higher res model data available. And remember, I will not be available tomorrow to do the morning update. So if you would like, tune in for our 6 o'clock or our 6:30 show on the broadcast side of things, or even the 11 o'clock if you're all are up and doing some things for your Friday night, Valentine's Day. I will have the latest on your Daytona 500 forecast, and we will be able to take a look at those higher res models since we will be close enough in time. Now, to shift gears real quick, I'm going to take us back to the GFS and zoom you on in nice and big so you can see closely, because I want you to watch what happens across the South from Texas, Oklahoma through to us as we go even further into the model data. Look at that ball of energy that comes down the front range of the Rockies and ignites a pretty significant snowstorm for central and southern plains in the Dixie Alley area. And then look at what happens from there. System manifests itself right along the upper Gulf Coast line. We get an area of low pressure that develops near New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Biloxi, Gulfport, Mississippi, and then runs face first into Pensacola and the Big Bend area of Florida, really driving up our rain chances and the possibility for severe, depending on how much we rebound back from this front that's going to be coming through us on Sunday. So we have a smorgasbord of frontal systems we're going to have to keep watching closely. And then if you look, we get another storm system that tries to get going, doesn't quite do it because we have a progressive jet, which means that the system is unable to tap into the energy provided by the jet before it kind of wipes itself off the screen. So through today, tomorrow, Sunday, and then Wednesday and Thursday of next week, we still have a long, week-long stretch of enhanced weather activity that we're going to be tracking alongside fluctuating temperatures, because I know, and as a matter of fact, we'll go ahead and wrap up with that here in a moment. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you. I wasn't going to show it, but I will go ahead and show it today. We're going to transition on over to your lovely pinpoint accurate forecast for the next 3 days. You can see here that we have rain chances for Thursday and Saturday, sitting at about 30% chance today with that front that's pushing through now that I showed you on the radar earlier. Friday, some lingering clouds. And then note for Nomadic E-Biking Adventures over on YouTube and whoever else may be wanting to get into the outdoor activities, if you look at the temperatures, tonight we're going to dip back into the 60s. So not a marked cool down, but enough to be noticeable with a bit, just a smidge or a little nudge of a drop in our overall humidity out there. And then we're right back to it by Saturday with a small chance of a stray shower or two thanks to that onshore flow. Sunday is going to be the main event. You can see up to now 60% shot for some rain before we cool down pretty dramatically, at least for a single day. You see there, we have a pretty nice drop-off in our temps between Sunday and Monday, and then we're right back to business as usual again for Wednesday. But that's in response to that approaching system that we saw on the GFS highlighted earlier that's going to be coming in by about the hump day Thursday timeframe of this upcoming week. So that's that, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I'm going to go ahead and get back to dialing in everything I need for tomorrow's broadcasts, and I will hopefully see you there on air at 6 o'clock or 6:30 for our digital on-air stream, and then I'll be back again for the 11 o'clock evening show, the night side show. If you want to get the latest on your Daytona 500 or just your overall weekend forecast, be sure to check us out and the rest of the Pinpoint Weather team here at News 6. If I don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and close out. I hope that you've had a great week. It's Friday Eve, and again, just like I said at the beginning, it feels like it should have been Friday a few days ago, especially back when I did the interview for you all with Dr. Phil Klotzbach. If you haven't managed to take a look at that, definitely revisit that. Lots of excellent information. I can't wait to touch base with him again at the National Hurricane Conference. I will probably be streaming from there because I do plan on attending, but that's to be determined. We'll iron out those logistics as we get closer in time. But I hope you've had a fantastic week. It's Thursday. We're almost to the weekend. If you have Valentine's Day plans, I hope they go over spectacularly, despite how weird and wild this weather has been behaving and everything else out there that's going on in Central Florida. And then for my race fans, if you're out there for the Xfinity race or the Truck Series race on Saturday, maybe I'll see you. But if not, I'm wishing you the best for the Sunday Daytona 500. And you best believe here at the Digital and in the Pinpoint Weather Center, we're going to be watching hour by hour every single piece of information that updates across our screen to dial in that forecast for you all. But until next time, which will probably be Monday, won't be available tomorrow because we'll be broadcasting, but either way on Monday, I'll see you again soon. But until then, this is the Digital Weather Center signing out.